why you must hire a QI, a qualified intermediary, as soon as possible when selling real estate. A lot of people say, why do I have to hire the QI? Well, to be compliant, first and foremost, to be compliant with the tax code, you have to have a qualified intermediary receive the funds from the sale of your property to be able to defer the tax. You are not allowed to take constructive receipt of the funds. And your agreement to have a qualified intermediary receive those funds on your behalf has to be executed before the closing. Okay, so first and foremost, to make sure you defer the taxes from the sale of your property, we've got to hire the QI. You can't do it yourself. You have to have a professional qualified intermediary receive those funds. Hopefully I'm making that crystal clear. Number two, the qualified intermediary is going to act as think of them as the third-party referee for the IRS. After receiving the funds, they're going to help out with the 45-day identification. So when you do a 1031 exchange, you got two deadlines, 45-day deadline and the 180 days. And they're going to provide, or most qualified intermediaries are going to provide you with the form to do your 45-day identification. Now, there's three property rules with the 45-day identification, right? There's the 3-property rule, the 200% rule, and the 95% rule. Typically, 99% of the investors out there are going to either use the 3-property rule and the 200% rule. The qualified intermediary is going to provide a form for you to fill out those identifications and make it official that you've identified. This is very critical for your paperwork in your file to make sure that you have the appropriate documentation in your file in case there's an audit. The last thing you want to do is do a 1031 exchange and have the IRS disallow the deferral. So they're going to be there to help. What they're also there to do is they're there to release funds during the acquisition of new real estate. So if you're buying regular property, and let's say you pick a property and get a letter of intent put in place, you also most likely will need to put a deposit down on the replacement property. So they're going to release the funds for the deposit. Not only that, when the purchase finally happens for the replacement property, they are going to set up the paperwork along with the attorneys involved in the sale and acquisition of the new property, right, in terms of finalizing the closing statement, getting it in place, and then wiring the funds on your behalf. So even though they're not going to be on the title or take ownership of the replacement property, they're involved in every step of the process of you buying the replacement property. So besides all the additional advice that a qualified intermediary can help out with, helping out with the nuances, the do's and don'ts, they're going to be there step by step, and that file that they're going to generate with the sale of your property, the 45-day identification, and then the purchase of the replacement properties are all necessary as part of your 1031 exchange.